Chris, one of the most reoccurring questions we get on our podcast has to do with technology.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. I mean, we live in a unbelievable technological riptide today, and we all get pulled into it. But what are signs that this technology, which can be so great, so helpful, is actually becoming detrimental to my relationships?
That's a great question. And I always struggle with this one because we both know how important technology is. Yeah. It draws people together. It brings people to a point where they can now communicate and share ideas on a regular basis. It's awesome to have access like that.
Yeah.
I think one of the signs that something is going wrong is if you begin to feel in this relationship that the other person is distracted.
Yeah.
And one of the distracted features about technology that does, I think, some damage is when people fall into the mistaken belief that they can do things in what we call multitasking.
Oh, yeah. You've said this before.
Multitasking is one of those things that we tend to believe we can do. Mm-hmm. I can sit there, listen to you, talk with you, do this text that I'm thinking about, and post this thing to Instagram real quick, all the while pretending as if, but here's the problem with multitasking. It has something called switch costs. A switch cost, Tim, is when I'm now doing two things, which I believe I'm doing at the same time, but in reality, I'm switching from one to the other. And a switch cost ends up saying, I'm only concentrating on this and ignoring this.
Right.
So you, as a partner, can sometimes begin to feel like you are not getting the full person. So I think when couples struggle with lack of feeling heard, or maybe the person's just a little bit off, there's not as enough maybe connection that they used to feel, and they're beginning to feel like this is a little bit more important to you, or what you're doing right there.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would caution couples, and they're feeling that it could very well be a consequence of this distracted attention.
And at the Center for Marriage and Relationships, we're not anti-technology.
No.
But maybe we need to, what some people are describing as technological fasts. In other words, creating time in which we turn everything off. Maybe this could be one afternoon on a Sunday. But to develop that muscle that says, I don't need to be wired to everything 24/7, that there are moments that we can guarantee that technology is not going to play a part. That could be a date night. It could be Sunday after church that you want to discuss the sermon or just be reflective with God. But I think it's important to develop that kind of muscle.
And I think the only way that muscle is developed is if you have the conversation.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not just a time, sometimes it's a location, right? In your home, you say, always after 8 o'clock, all technology goes off, or the kitchen table, or this part of the room, or at work, or at your job or school. You find a place where you have given that over and you do not go online. And that can become some pretty powerful moments where you're now reacting and listening to the things around you, paying attention to what's going on, and not distracted by the other, not distracted by what could be, not distracted by what I have to be doing.
That's right.
And so couples, I think, that are able to navigate this well, have that conversation and talk about, let's do this. Let's turn off our technology after 8 o'clock. And then we can just hang out, and do whatever.
And maybe not every night. Maybe develop that muscle.
Right.
Maybe every other would be great. But to have those moments where you realize, hey, we're fully present with each other. And again, maybe we'll turn on the technology in an hour and a half. But this hour and a half is our time, and we're going to keep it free of technology. That might be a great way to strengthen your relationship.